Hello everyone, welcome to a Talisman Digital 5th edition developer stream. Just a quick one today because I had a bit of free time in between sorting everything out for the upcoming Reaper expansion. Let me start actually recording because that seems like a good idea. Hello everyone and welcome to a tiny little Talisman Digital 5th edition developer stream. I had a couple of minutes in between sorting out everything for the upcoming The Reaper Classic expansion for Talisman Digital 5th edition. So I thought, it's Wednesday, let's try and not get turned into a toad. Seemed like a good idea. So here we are. We're going to play some Talisman Digital 5th edition. I'm going to shrink myself down because once people start coming into the chat, I don't want to get in the way of their beautiful words that I'm sure they will be commenting. It's very foggy today. I've just looked out my window and it's very foggy here in the UK, which is not that nice. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not what you want. You want it to just be a normal day, don't you? Right. So enough about me talking about fog. I'm going to play some Talisman Digital 5th edition because, like I said, I've got a little bit of free time. I just had OBS open because I was playing. Those games do not work anymore because I was capturing some footage of the Reaper Classic. So I was playing with the Reaper expansion enabled, using all the characters that come along with that. So because I reverted back to the public build, the game sort of doesn't know what to do because it's trying to pull on information that isn't there anymore because I was playing on a future cool version. But we're going to go back to playing the regular version. I could go random. I could go elf. Let's go sorceress. I like the sorceress. Random, yeah, seems fine. Right, expansions coming soon. So yes, the Reaper is coming soon. It's still a little bit off in terms of release date, but as we speak, I am getting everything ready for announcing the release date, for doing a lot of shouting when the release date does come. So yeah, stay tuned for a lot of very exciting Reaper stuff coming very soon. We're very excited to see what people think about the Reaper expansion because it adds... It's one of those expansions that until it's gone, you don't realise just how much it adds to the game in terms of the basic cards that it adds. Like, yes, the base game has everything you need to play a game of Talisman. But in terms of like a good variety of cards and enemies, I just think the Reaper adds quite a lot to the game. So what have I actually got? I've got Destroy Magic, which I can't, no point in really using at the moment. Let's go to the village. Let's do that. Let's visit the Mystic. That seems like a good idea. 6. Cool. I'll take that. I'll take a spell. Yes, so at the moment, like I said, I'm currently getting everything. Doth my eyes deceive me? Is this the ancient one? That your eyes do not deceive you. Hang on, let's see. Why is it not coming up? Why is it not coming up on there? Is that because it should be higher up? Because I've... Yes. Because I hadn't shown it, which was foolish of me. And also my head's still in the way of chat. You can tell I've not streamed for a hot minute because I need to make sure everything's set up as it should be. But no, Scott Sword has asked if his eyes deceive him. Is this the ancient one? And it is. For anyone that hangs out on our Discord, the link's all the way on the other side of that screen. The Nomad Games Discord. I am Tom, the Ancient One, because I am always lurking in the background and making sure that no one's doing anything they shouldn't be doing, which is an important job because sometimes bots and scammers are rife on Discord and someone needs to sort them out, and that's what I do. I'll sort them out. Let's see what's happening. So we've got the Prophetess, the Dwarf, the Warrior, and me. Yes, so I thought I'd just play some Talisman Digital 5th Edition, because I've not for a while, and I thought I'd just treat you all to a little bit of a hangout, a bit of chill time, and just let you all know, like I said, the Reaper is on the way. So for anyone that's playing 5th Edition right now and is like aching for that extra content, 5th Edition is going to get the Reaper very soon. It is literally just around the corner, and I'm very excited to show you all what we've been working on. I think the expansion adds a lot, and I think it's really cool. Alright. Warrior versus Goblin. Who will win? I think it's going to be the Warrior. I think it is. Right. Warrior wins. So Warrior gets to take a gnome. Let's see. Let's travel 3 spaces. Let's go hills. Let's run to the hills and let's run for our lives. Alright, so we've got another Spectre. I don't think I'm playing with a custom deck. I think I'm playing with the default deck. I'm not 100% sure. Should have checked. Yes, so basically I just wanted to do a nice little chill stream, and something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and something that I probably should dedicate a dedicated video to, but I thought it'd be, in the meantime, I might as well talk about it on stream, is a lot of people have been asking, since 5th edition came out, is, well, what's the difference between Talisman 4th edition and Talisman 5th edition? You know, what's the difference? Why should I get on 5th edition if I already have Classic edition, especially on Steam where it's available for free? So if you haven't got it already, you should pick it up because it is free, so you've got no excuse not to. A lot of people have been asking, you know, what's the difference? What's the major difference between 4th and 5th? And to be fair, a lot of what the difference between 4th and 5th is has already been covered by people who have discussed the physical game, because obviously this is a digital adaptation of the physical game. Also, is that the fight music a bit loud? I feel like I was fighting against the fight music there. Alright, that seems a little bit better balance. Yeah, what I was saying was a lot of the differences between 4th and 5th match the differences that you'll find in the physical game. So in the same way that certain cards have changed in the physical version, we have matched that in the digital version. So certain rules have changed in the 4th edition, we have matched that in the digital version. So like all of the rules that streamline the game a little bit, make it move a little bit faster, the new spending fate to move system, that's all in digital 5th edition. And I think that's something that is not hard to get across. I think hard to get across is probably a bit too dramatic, but I think because a lot of the rules between 4th and 5th edition aren't so dramatic. It's more once you start playing with the game, you realize that all these smaller rules changes put together do make quite a big difference. So, like, having the ability to spend fate to move to specific locations instead of just relying on your dice rolls doesn't seem like it would add all that much to the game. I'm going to pay a fate, and I'm going to go to... No, I don't want to go to the market. Yeah, let's go to the village. Let's visit the healer. Do actually want to heal life. Cool. Yeah, so it's those small changes that at first glance might not seem like they add that much, or doesn't seem like it would change the way that the game plays that much. And I think fundamentally it is still Talisman. Like, it is always still going to be Talisman. But as someone that's played a lot of 4th edition physically and digitally, and has now played a lot of 5th edition physically and digitally, I think once you start actually playing it, the difference in how the game flows and the difference in how the speed of the game goes really starts to show itself after you've played a couple of games. Like, it's become a bit of a meme at this point, that if you want to play a game of Talisman, you need to book out like multiple hours to do that. And I think it's not like, oh, you'll just breeze through a game of 5th edition in 10 minutes. But there's a lot less waiting, there's a lot more control that you have over making smart choices with your resources. Like, if you want to spend fate, you have more opportunity to do so, and there's more opportunities to gain fate as well. So you can be a bit less conservative with how you're playing. You can take more risks, which I think is a good thing, because Talisman, for me at least, is all about taking those calculated risks and trying to judge, okay, is this worth going to this location because I might get something good out of it? Is it not? How lucky do I feel? Do I think other people are going to take bigger risks? Do I need to take bigger risks? Like, it all adds up into, what you're expecting from Talisman. So yeah, I think I'm going to probably do a more detailed, in-depth, what's the difference between 4th and 5th edition, what's the difference between Classic and 5th edition. But for now, I think one of the things that I really want to highlight, because it doesn't get talked about enough, I don't think, is that speed difference. And it's difficult to communicate that quickly, because unless you actually start playing full games, it's not something that you'll notice. Even looking at the developer streams that I'm on, obviously I'm a bad example because I talk throughout the entire time that I'm playing, so it's not really indicative of what an actual game of Talisman would look like speed wise. Standoff, that's fine. I'm fine with a standoff. But yes, it is something that a lot of players have commented on. A lot of more invested players have commented on, and I think it's something that doesn't get discussed enough. Right, enough of me rambling. Glen 1N. I've been playing 5th alongside Classic for a few days now. Also, hi, you first-time chatter. I'm not sure if we've talked before on either the Discord or any of the other social media channels that we have. The name rings a bell. I don't know if you're off Reddit, maybe? But yes, welcome to the stream. Thank you for joining and chatting. And I'm interested to hear what you think of 5th edition versus Classic edition. If you've got any feedback, if anyone has any feedback at all, throw it my way. That's a big part of my job. It's Glenn1N off YouTube. Of course it is, Glenn. Of course it is. Yes, we chatted the other day. How did I forget that? I've been awake for 3 hours. I've had 1 cup of tea, and I'm in the middle of trying to stream my way to victory. So apologies for not remembering. That's on me. Take 1 life from another character. I can do that. I can absolutely do that. Busy man. It's true. It's true. I literally threw on this stream because I looked at my schedule for the day and was like, okay, so I need to sort this out, and this out. I do have a brief window where I can stream some Talisman for everyone, so I was like, I'm gonna make the most of that. I haven't streamed some Talisman 5th edition for quite a while, so I was like, I need to get back on the train. I need to get back on showing people what this game's all about, showing people what they can expect from Talisman 5th edition, because it's something that a lot of people have already jumped on. But we need more people. We need more people to grab Talisman Digital 5th edition, because the Reaper's coming out very soon, and we want as many people to throw to the Reaper as possible. Yes, I might as well ask you, now that we're live on stream, what do you think about 5th edition, Digital 5th edition versus the Digital Classic edition? I'm sure we'll catch up separately, but here we go, live on stream. I want to know what your hot take is on 5th edition. Like, have you been messing around with the deck editor? What do you think of the game as a whole? I think it'd be good to hear. And hey, Geeky Chappy, nice to see you. Let's go to the Hidden Valley. Let's draw all the cards. I want to draw all the cards. Ghost. Evil Darkness, Shield. I'm loving it. I've been Glad to hear you've been loving it though. That's really, really what we want to hear. Been messing with the deck editor and comparing the two. Nice. Yeah, the deck editor was one thing that I think I talked about it when we originally announced 5th edition, and we originally discussed what we're bringing to 5th edition that's different to Classic edition. And one of the things that had always frustrated us, and one of the things that had always not caused us issues, but meant that we couldn't do things in Talisman Digital Classic Edition that we wanted to, was the fact that Classic Edition is built on like 10 years of legacy code. So there's a lot of things in Classic Edition that work because of the way it's programmed and because of the way that we've had to sort of make it work, which means that adding any extra features, going back and changing the way that the game works, is doable, but isn't always, how's the best way to describe it? It takes far more work than it should to go back and make changes to Classic Edition, because there's a lot of things that depend on each other that it's not always obvious that they depend on each other. Like any game with a bunch of legacy code, it just gets really messy really quickly if you're trying to do something that affects parts of the game that were never designed to be affected. So what I'm trying to say is, for a long time we wanted to make more customization options for Talisman, because we know that customization is something that Talisman players really, really, really like. Customization is something that Talisman players love to do. We've seen it with the custom expansions. We've seen it with all of the house rules that players have come up with. And we were always a bit disheartened that we couldn't offer more customization in Classic Edition. Sorry, I'm just going to have a drink because I'm talking non-stop, and that's not something I normally do. That's a bit better. Yes, so we wanted to add customization options to Classic Edition, which, you know, we were able to do to some extent. We were able to add house rules, we were able to add cool stuff like that. But we always felt there was more that we could do. And one of the things that I'm going to count on my own spell, because I want to see if I can get a better one. One of the things that we always wanted to do, like I said, was add more customization options. And the issue that we had, well, I don't know, issue might be taking it a bit too far. Let's do some psychic combat, because I want to do a warlock quest. I rolled a 1 terrible times. Yeah, we were never able to add that many customization options, simply because anytime we tried to do it, the game would just break. And trying to figure out how it had broken and why it had broken and how to fix that would take so long that it was just a nightmare to get anywhere in terms of customization options. So we were like, okay, well, with 5th, we can strip out all that legacy code, get everything back to how it is at the very start, and we can make this game with those customization options in mind. Build that framework, build that solid base, so that we don't end up in another situation where we go, oh, we can't make the changes, we can't design the game the way that we wanted to because of decisions that we made 10 years ago because we didn't know that we'd be in this position. So yeah, the deck editor is the biggest thing to come out of that, where we now let you fully customize, pick and choose what cards you play with out of the decks. So if there's certain cards that you do like, if there's certain cards you don't like, take them out, add more copies. It makes the game so much more personalized, and you can play them with friends. So it's a great way of being like, okay, well, if we were playing this physically, we'd house rule it so that we just take these cards out because no one likes playing with the Poltergeist, for example. Now in digital 5th edition, you can do that. All right, enough of me rambling again. Let me see what Glenn has said. Lord Zod and I are gearing up to publish some 5th edition games. Still so much content in Classic right now too. Let's arrange and stream a game very soon. Yes, we absolutely should do that. Let's pay fate and move to the temple. I've got enough fate that I can do that. Draw a spell. Destruction. Nice. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what people do with the deck editor, especially once the Reaper comes out, because I think the amount of options that it gives people for customizing their game and for putting together a very specific type of Talisman game while still keeping the random element is really good. And I'm excited to see what people are going to be doing with that. So, like, we've already put in some one of the achievements in 5th edition is specifically born from a very strange game that we played with the deck editor, which is where all the spells were random. Not as in random as in you didn't know what they were, random as in they were the spell called random, which adds a whole heap of chaos to the game. But if that's what you're after, that's quite fun. Also, see you, Scott Sword. Thanks for tuning in to this impromptu, out of nowhere developer stream, where I'm just going to play a little bit more, because I do have some Reaper classic things that I need to jump on. Like Glenn said, busy man, busy man. Let's re-roll. Yes, a 6. Not a 1, a 6. That is one of the key things that we've had to try and communicate over the last 3 months now since 5th edition came out. So for anyone that doesn't know, previously in 4th edition, you had a die, obviously. Ooh, let's gain craft. Ooh, I could trade trophies as well. Trade for craft. Cool. Trade for strength. Nice. Nice. I built a deck called Witches and Unicorns. Would love to try it out with you and Lord Zod. I'm gonna take a wild educated guess as to what kind of thing is in the Witches and Unicorns deck. I imagine that a guess that I made about the Witches and Unicorns deck would probably be pretty accurate. So, alright, we've got the Dwarf versus the Lemure. There's more to it. Well, now I'm intrigued. You had me at Witches and Unicorns, but now I'm more intrigued. Right. Market day. I've got 1 gold. Yeah, I'll take a sword. Why not? Why not? Swords are always useful, especially in a place as dangerous as Talisman. Alright. Roll die. Let's go to the woods. Let's go down to the woods today, and we're sure for a big surprise. The big surprise is 2 bags of gold. I'm happy with that. I am absolutely not going to complain about that. Shrine. Yeah, I seem to be loving that shrine. Actually, since speaking of the AI loving certain things, we've actually made some more updates to the AI since launch. So for anyone that originally saw Talisman 5th edition, when it first launched, we'd put a lot of effort into making sure that the AI did as good a job as it could handling all of the new things that it needed to take into account in 5th edition, like accounting for the new rules. But one of the things that we really wanted to focus on, just like with the actual base game itself for 5th edition, was making sure that the AI had, again, a strong foundation to build from. Because for anyone that's played Classic Edition with all the expansions turned on, you'll know that once it hits a certain point in terms of the number of things that the AI needs to think about, sometimes the AI can make some interesting decisions, to say the least. The AI can just prioritize things that it probably shouldn't prioritize, and it just causes the AI to do some funky things. And the main reason for that, is because when we originally designed Talisman Digital Edition, we went in with the idea that, okay, well, we'll need to account for the base game and maybe a couple of expansions, but it'll be fine. Like, we don't need to worry about how the AI is going to handle the amount of information that the AI has to handle now. It's sort of like assuming that your tiny little motorbike, will be fine for your new job, and then 10 years later you need to deliver a van's worth of stuff. Like, yes, you can do it, but you were never designed to do that. I don't know if that analogy actually lands or not, but I'm going to assume that to some degree it does. Yeah, it was never designed to handle all the things that we eventually put on it. However, 5th edition, we stripped the AI back to the absolute bare bones, and we put a lot of effort into making sure that the AI could then be built back up, knowing that we're going to be adding all of the classic expansions. We're going to be adding stuff like alliances to the game as well. So we needed to make sure that the AI would be able to handle playing a game like the alliances. So yeah, basically, we're still ironing out some of the AI's quirks, even now in 5th edition. I think there was a quirk where it would just overvalue certain places. Even now when we're testing the Reaper, we came across a very funny issue where the AI would overvalue things in the inner region and just throw itself at the Sentinel. Even though it had incredibly low odds, the AI would still think it was worth it. So that's a good example of something where we've had to look at it and go, okay, well, we still need to adjust that. And we're going to continue adjusting things with the AI. But our hope is that because we've put this effort into making the AI much more flexible and in a much better place for us to build upon, we're hoping that as time goes on, the AI will just keep getting better and better and better, instead of the situation that we've got with Classic Edition currently, which is, like I said, the AI was never designed to take into account 10 expansions at once, whereas this AI is. Obviously, there's not 10 expansions in the game yet, so it's hard to see that right now. But once we roll out the Reaper, once we start rolling out more classic expansions, once we bring out alliances and anything else that we might be doing after alliances that's 5th edition, don't know what I could be talking about there. As that stuff happens, you'll be able to see more and more that the AI is a lot more robust than it was in Classic Edition, and able to make more decisions that make human sense instead of just AI sense. Will you be rolling out Sacred Pool and the like? Yes, that is the plan. We've got a list of all of the 4th edition expansions, and we've put out a number of surveys, both recently and in the past, where we've asked people, what's your favourite 4th edition expansion? What expansion would you like to see? What do you play with the most? And Reaper, honestly, primarily based off the stats that we have in the back end or Talisman Digital Edition, we know that the Reaper was one of the most played with expansions. Like, in terms of percentage of games of Talisman Digital Edition played, how many percentage of those games were played with the Reaper was higher than anything else. Because it does add a lot to the game. It's one of those, like, it's not as showy, I feel, as something like the dungeon or the city, where because it's a corner board, it's really obvious how much it adds. I think the cards that the Reaper adds to the adventure deck, and also the Reaper himself wandering around, I think adds more to the game than people realise. Dungeon all the way. Yes, Dungeon is another very popular one that's fairly high on our list. So yes, we've got we've got a list of all the expansions we're going to be adding. We're going to be adding them in a rough order based on a combination of different factors in terms of popularity, demand, things like that. But yeah, we are going to be adding all of those expansions, and it's going to take a while, so don't expect them to be coming out soon, but you know, we are working on them as we speak, which is very exciting. What's everyone got? Let's go for who's actually doing well. Let's go for the dwarf. I feel like going for the dwarf's a cool idea. Yeah, let's try and steal your orb of knowledge. Let's see how that goes for me. Nice. I will happily take that, and I will not complain about it. Alright, temple time. Let's re-roll this one, see if I can get anything better. Gain a strength. That's right. Gaining strength, I would say, is better than losing life. Not to throw out a controversial talisman opinion, but that's just my hot take on that situation. Devil, ghost, hobgoblin. Yeah, so for anyone wondering, I am playing with the default deck at the moment, which is the default setup. But if you want to play with a different setup, that's what the deck editor is for. So if you want, throw a couple more monsters in there, make things a bit more intense. That's what you can do. You can pick and choose what you add. Also, I am going to be doing a special Reaper developer stream once the Reaper Classic comes out for 5th edition. So if you aren't already following us on Twitch or any of the other places that we are online, you should go do that. And not only because that will make me happy, because I'm the person that manages all of the marketing and keeps an eye on all the social media channels, but also it means that you'll get notified when I do cool things like this, which is always cool because it means you get to see it, and it means I get to do it to more people, and yeah, it's just more of a fun time the more people are involved. So if you haven't already followed us, especially here on Twitch, you should do that. That's my official verdict for the day. Alright, let's take a crown. During my comparison between the two editions, I found that the card pulls themselves are what dictate the length of the game. However, the 5th felt faster, and no doubt if I played hundreds of games, 5th would end up being fastest. Yeah, there are still cases where, because of the cards that get drawn, games can go longer or shorter. Sometimes someone will just get a really, really amazing start. Dwarf Rush is still pretty valid in 5th edition, I find. So if you want to have a super quick game, you can. But yeah, I think on the whole, once you plot it out over multiple games, 5th edition does end up faster. And yeah, so in some ways it is more of a feeling than a thing. I think we've put a lot of effort into streamlining things like the combat and moving around, choosing what you cast. Obviously it's still the talisman that everyone knows and loves, but we have put quite a lot of effort into matching the new speed within the game as well. Let's go to the Portal of Power. Alchemist. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll take an Alchemist. bag of gold and a shadow. I love the artwork on the shadow. I think the shadow artwork's so cool. I've used it quite a few times on promoting the game, like if on social media and stuff. But just the shadow creeping around the back of it is just so cool. Really like the artwork on that. There's a lot of the artwork in 5th edition that I really do appreciate. I think the shield, funnily enough, was actually one of the first pieces of artwork that I saw for 5th edition. For anyone that doesn't know, we as a studio actually knew about 5th edition before it was announced to the public, which was quite exciting. So we got to see a lot of proof of concept stuff. We got to see a lot of in development things for the physical game, which was very cool. Very privileged to do that. So those folks over at Avalon Hill and Games Workshop, they've always been very good to us. They've been very good to us when we started 10 years ago, and they're still very good to us now, which is very nice. Let's cast on a creature. Show cards. Let's cast on Hobgoblin. Let's hob that goblin. Let's cast an invisibility spell. One of the most difficult things to create artwork for, I imagine. How do you draw invisibility? Look at the Hidden Valley. Because then I only need to find the wolf. Thanks to my immobility spell, which is quite good. Because I think, whereas if I fought the wolf and the hobgoblin together, it might have been a bit more risky. Whereas just taking on one of them, not a challenge. I can take on one wolf. A wolf and a hobgoblin together, slightly less confident in my abilities at that point. You don't fancy the siren, so instead you get an ape. What is an ape if not a land siren? No. A lot faster to get into middle region in 5th edition. Yes, that is another change that I think works quite well. I think in 4th edition it can sometimes feel a bit like you're just spending the early game trying to build yourself up enough to get to the middle region, whereas in 5th edition I think you can be a bit more risky. I think there's a lot more things that give you the opportunity to do that, which I really appreciate. Right, a shrine. Sword. Cool. Warrior. What are you doing, warrior? Also, I can confirm I've been playing with the new characters. Well, I'll say new. They're still from the Reaper expansion, but they're new to 5th edition. I've been playing with the 5th edition characters, versions of the Reaper characters. So the Dark Cultist, the Sage, the Merchant, and the what's the other one? Dark Cultist, Sage, Merchant, Knight. And they all fit really well in 5th edition. They all feel like they were put straight in there, as they should be. So I think they've turned out really good. I've been Talisman speedrunning currently on Classic, and breaking down the barrier between outer and middle regions can be a challenge. Love the Knight. Yeah, the Knight's very cool. Knight's very cool. The artwork as well for the new Knight, the art team have done a really good job. Can I actually... because I imagine there will be people who haven't seen him. Let me see if I can grab him. Whoa, that's a bit a bit too large. But yes, the knight is looking very cool. In fact, all of the characters from the Reaper are looking really cool. I think the knight was one of the first ones I saw when the art team had finished making all of the new artwork for all of the classic characters in the Reaper. And he does look proper cool. The knight in 4th edition looks cool, but I think we put a lot of effort into making sure that, you know, these classic characters still fit in with what people now expect from 5th edition. So I'm going to remove him because he is in the way of me making my moves. So let's have a look and see what we've got here. This better than classic edition. So I think one of the things that we have tried to keep in mind is there will still be people, because there's still people that like 2nd edition Talisman. There'll be people who go, well, this is my version of Talisman, and because this is my version of Talisman, this is the best version. And there's always going to be people. There's always going to be people that are like that. So I think that's why we wanted to make sure that we kept that original feel of 4th edition when it came to these classic expansions, but updated it so that it did still fit with the 5th edition. Just try and get like the best of both worlds. Which, when it comes out, let me know. Do you think we managed to do that? Do you think we managed to get the best of both worlds and still keep that 4th edition feel, while also integrating these classic expansions into 5th edition? So that was our focus right from the start, because we didn't want to just go, okay, well, we'll just take a couple of things from the Reaper, but throw out the baby with the bathwater. We wanted to keep that feel. We wanted to keep the original vibes that the expansion added to the game. And like I said, I do think that's something we've managed to do. I'm going to combine a wolf and an ape and become stronger in the process. Classic Talisman. Right. You not fancy the goblin? I would have taken the goblin personally. I think if you'd got the ability to fight the goblin, I think the prophetess can be tricky. Like, if you don't want to risk too much, because sometimes you can take a slightly bad option over the potential of having something worse. All right, let's see. Dwarf and hobgoblin. Hobgoblin? Hobgoblin. Oof. That's a 6. Bad times for the dwarf. Sad. Right. So, I did say up at the start of the stream, this was only going to be a shortish stream, just because I do need to jump back on to a bunch of exciting stuff that I'm doing currently behind the scenes for Talisman Digital 5th edition. So I think I am going to let's fight this hobgoblin, and then I will have to say an end to the stream shortly. But before I do, Geeky Chappy, what are you saying? I'm enjoying switching between new and classic editions. As a Talisman fan since year 1, I like playing all editions and versions. I'm hoping the classic DE will remain available. Yeah, I think that's the thing. We know that there's people that love Talisman, love all versions, and we want to be able to make sure that those people are being offered everything they should be being offered. All right, we've defeated a goblin. I've got some armor. So I am going to end the stream here, but thank you everyone for tuning in to a cheeky little impromptu developer stream where I've talked nonsense for nearly an hour, and you've all sat and listened to me, which is very nice because normally when I sit and talk nonsense for an hour, no one listens to me. So this is a nice way for me to actually be able to do that. If you haven't already, check out Talisman Digital 5th Edition over on Steam. Like I said, the Reaper is coming out mightily soon. So now is as good a time as any to get on the 5th edition bandwagon. It's been out for a good while, we've had good reviews, and the community response to 5th edition has been really, really good. I think one of the things that we were worried about is the Talisman community. They're so opinionated, it's not the right word. The Talisman community, they know what they like and they know what they don't like. And I think one of the things that we were really worried about was that 5th edition wasn't going to be what they wanted. And like I said, so far, response from the community, this is what they wanted. This is what they were after from 5th edition digital. So yeah, if you haven't picked it up already, then make sure you go over to Steam, add it to your wish list if you want to pick it up in the next sale, or grab it now if you just can't wait, because that seems like a good thing to do. Definitely not biased. Definitely not biased. But yes, enough of me rambling. Thank you everyone for tuning into the stream, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.